Hello everyone, I am Regine Pirota and I'm going to discuss about Bandura'S social cognitive theory. Bandura'S social cognitive theory. Bandura agrees with Skinner that people can learn through direct experience, but he placed much more emphasis on vicarious learning. In a Boo doll experiment, adults were recording being aggressive to the Boo dolls. Children were shown the video and allowed to play in a room full of toys. Children were aggressive to the Boo doll just as the adults were in the video. In the Boo doll experiment, Bandura observed the components of learning occur through observation and modeling behaviors. Social cognitive learning theory. Social learning theory considers how both environmental and cognitive factors interact to influence human learning behaviors. It emphasized the importance of observing, modeling, and imitating the behaviors, attitude, and emotional reaction of others. There are 5 assumptions of social cognitive theory. First, the observing others. People can learn by watching others. Second, learning might lead to a behavior, or it might not. Learning might happen later or not at all. Third, goal setting. People set goals for themselves and work to achieve those goals. Fourth, self-regulated learning. Eventually, people will regulate their own learnings. And last, the reinforcement and punishment. Reinforcement and punishment have indirect effect on the learning processes. People have an expectation on outcomes of behaviors. Reciprocal causation model environment learning behavior person. Reciprocal determinism is a central concept of Albert Bandura's social learning theory, also known as tragic reciprocality. Reciprocal determinism is a model composed of 3 factors that influence behavior: the individual, including how they think and feel, their environment, and their behavior itself. Environmental factors. A person's physical and social environment influence the intensity and frequency of the behavior. Just the behavior itself can have an impact on the environment. Behavioral factors. Behavior refers to anything you do that may be rewarded or punished. Person. The behavior itself is something that may or may not be reinforced at any given time or situation. Types of learning. The inactive learning and vicarious learning. Inactive learning means learning by doing and experiencing the consequence of your action, which provide information, while the vicarious learning is a way of learning that allow individuals to learn from the experience. The learning process requires A. Attention. Learning by learning attentive anything that distracts the attention will be going to have a negative effect on learning. Paying attention is the first step in the learning process. Everybody fails to pay attention sometimes, but some people fails to pay attention a lot. Not paying attention to what you are doing can be a problem for both children and adults. For examples, not listening to the directions in a class can cause a student to do an assignment wrong, and running a stop sign can cause an adult to have an accident or get a traffic ticket. B. Retention. The ability to store information is also an important part of the learning process. It is the process of transferring new information into long-term memory. This means you've effectively taken in the information and are able to recall it in the future. Without retaining what you've learned, it will leave your short-term memory after a certain amount of time has passed. C. Reproduction. Once a person pays attention and able to retain the information, it is time to actually perform the behavior you observe. It concerns the physical and mental ability of the individual to copy the behavior he or she observed. D. Motivation. In order to be successful, you have to be motivated to learn being aware of its outcomes. It creates an interest in learning among young learners. It brings energy, mobilization. It helps sustain the attention in one's effort or task. It makes us work restless until the goal is achieved. The types of models. Models can be real people, like teacher, coaches, etc. Models can also came from media, books, TV, magazine, symbolic. Models can also influence behavior positively and negatively. Characteristic of models, both real and symbolic, have prestige and power. Models are competent, perform tasks well that others would like to be able to do.
It's 5:50 something and I feel so empty inside. The sun is going down, the sky is dreaming.